the security that's to his right, and allegedly explicitly said that they are going to kill me tomorrow.
Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love.
For a long time, she didn't say anything. No interviews, no statements, no attempt to step into the spotlight. While the story of her son's final days spread across headlines, clips, and conversations, Charlie's mother stayed completely silent. And at first, people understood that. Because grief doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it stays behind closed doors. But now, that silence is starting to feel different. Because, according to sources close to the situation, she hasn't just been grieving. She's been listening, watching how her son's final hours are being described, and quietly asking one question. Why does the story keep changing? From her perspective, what happened in those final hours doesn't match what's being said publicly anymore, not even close. According to what's being discussed, she believes her son was not calm that night, not relaxed, not going through a normal routine, but deeply unsettled. Not just tired from work, not just under pressure, but genuinely shaken in a way that stood out. And that detail matters. Because if that's true, then the version of events that describes that night as calm and ordinary starts to fall apart.
People out there that hated us with deep, deep passion of hate. But it didn't scare us. He was never afraid of that. Neither was I. Obviously, we protect our children. You know, we don't show their faces on the internet.
But it doesn't stop there. Because one of the more serious claims now being talked about is this: that in those final hours, Charlie may have started questioning the people around him. Now that's not a small statement. And again, this is being discussed as a claim, not confirmed fact. But even the suggestion of it, it changes everything. Because now the story isn't just about what happened, it's about trust. And this is where the tension really starts to build. Because while his mother's perspective points toward concern, another version of that same night tells a completely different story. That version comes from Erica.
To the Israel Firsters' frustrations is the fact that everybody can see that something's not right with Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk, and that includes the biggest podcaster in the world, Joe Rogan. They were so angry because he went on his show and just kind of said CIA documentary because they came out and they were suddenly trying to gaslight us and the CIA didn't produce the documentary. Okay, yes, but the head of the CIA is in it. Okay, you gotta get approval from the CIA to be in a CIA documentary. That doesn't just happen casually. Like he says, are you getting that phone call from your agent? And no, she's not acting. She's specifically referring to her mother's business model. Not acting. She's involved. And so people, of course, online were so angry about it. The Israel Firsters, Mark Levin, tweeted this. Is this some AI production? If not, what a total disgrace. Then this Eitan Fishberger said, this is some sick stuff from Joe Rogan, as if Erica hasn't been through enough already. How about just acknowledging that you do not have the power to transform reality?
In her later interviews, she described that night as calm, routine, nothing unusual, no fear, no urgency, no sense that anything serious was about to happen. According to her, it was just another evening before a scheduled appearance. Now pause there, because that directly contradicts not only what's being said from the mother's side, but also what was said earlier. Because in the first major version of events that came out, even Erica's own words painted a very different picture. At that time, she described concern, real concern. She mentioned urging Charlie to take serious security precautions. At one point, even suggesting he consider wearing a bulletproof vest. That's not a casual comment.
It was our last day it was our last day. Like, we always lived as if it was the last day. That's why Charlie's speeches were so good. But again, it wasn't anything that, you would think any different.
That's something you say when you believe there is a real risk. So now we have a problem. Because one version suggests fear, another version removes it completely, and people are left asking, what changed? Why did the tone shift so dramatically? Now let's add another layer, because media reports also played a big role in shaping how people first understood this story. Early coverage described that final night as tense. It mentioned concern during a dinner. It suggested that people around Charlie were worried about his safety. So, at that point, everything aligned. Erica's early statements, media reporting, the overall tone, all pointing toward one idea. Something didn't feel right that night. But then came the shift.
To tell Erica that.
Yeah.
Erica is very shrewd. She's very smart. There's a great story. I can't really tell you who this was, but it was a very important person. And it happened within hours of the news. And the call goes in, she takes it because it was a very important person. And the question was to her, okay, so just as a starting point, like, what do you know? And she was like, I know everything. And I was like, that's amazing.
I've known Erica since they started dating, since Charlie and Erica started dating. I remember the first time I met Erica, it was actually at Politicon in Los Angeles many years back. And I was like, who is this gal? Like, and Charlie was like, oh, she's hanging out with us today. Charlie, you could tell there was something different though. And I logged it. And Erica has always been tremendous, and she never sought the limelight. She was always very happy to sort of be doing her own thing and just be supportive of Charlie. And she's never been anything but just high character, just warm. She was a total asset to Charlie in the sense that, Charlie was so missional. He was so direct. He was so kind of on just, Energizer Bunny, and direct about what he needed to get done. And Erica was this humanizing presence just for the staff, for whether it was donors or politicians or whoever he was meeting with. And she was just so content to be in the background and be the mom.
Later interviews started telling a different story. Less urgency, less fear, less emphasis on danger. And that's when people started going back, re-watching interviews, rereading statements, comparing everything side by side. And once they did that, the inconsistencies became impossible to ignore. But just when people thought they understood the situation, another detail surfaced. This time, it involved what may have happened during that private dinner. At first, it sounded simple. Just a dinner, a meeting. Nothing unusual. But according to discussions now circulating, that night may have included something more. A call. A Zoom conversation. And reportedly, that call may have involved individuals outside the immediate circle, even someone based overseas. Now, if that detail is accurate, it changes the context completely, because now the night doesn't just look emotional, it starts to look structured. And naturally, people started asking, why that night? Why that call? And why wasn't this clearly explained earlier? But it doesn't stop there, because according to claims being discussed, something happened after that call. Messages were sent, texts, and according to multiple discussions, those messages may have carried a tone that doesn't match the calm and normal version of events. One claim that keeps coming up? That Charlie may have expressed fear for his life. Again, this is being presented as an allegation, not confirmed fact. But if true, it creates a major contradiction, because it directly clashes with the later version of events. So now we're not dealing with just two versions. We have multiple. Mother's perspective. He was deeply unsettled early version. There was concern and fear, later version. Everything was calm, reported messages, possible fear again. And this is exactly why the situation feels unstable, because those versions don't align. Then there are outside voices, commentators, analysts, people who have followed Charlie's work closely, and many of them are pointing out something important. They say he was used to pressure, used to criticism, used to controversy. So the idea that a single article or outside opinion suddenly caused panic doesn't sit right with them. That argument has been repeated again and again, because it challenges one of the explanations that was given for why that night felt intense. And once again, everything circles back to the same issue: consistency. Because people aren't just asking what happened, they're asking why the explanation keeps changing. Now, let's come back to his mother. Because from what's being discussed, her concern goes deeper than emotion. It's about how her son's final hours are being presented to the public, and whether those versions reflect what she believes to be true. That's why there's growing talk that she may decide to speak publicly, possibly in a full interview, possibly sharing her side of the story in detail, and if that happens, this entire narrative could shift overnight, because for the first time, the public wouldn't just be hearing one version of events. They'd be hearing from someone who has been silent, but closely connected to everything. And that raises a bigger question. Why now? Why is this the moment where that silence might break? Some believe it's because the contradictions have gone too far. Others think it's because the narrative has become too one-sided. And some believe it's something even simpler, that when stories don't line up, eventually, someone steps in to correct them. And if that happens here, then everything people think they know about that night could change. Fast. Because right now, this story doesn't feel complete. It feels like pieces, fragments, different versions existing at the same time, and people are trying to connect them. But until those pieces form one clear picture, the questions aren't going anywhere. So now it comes back to you. After hearing all sides, after seeing how the timeline shifts, after noticing how the details don't fully align, what do you think is really going on here? Is this a case of different perspectives telling the same story in different ways? Or do you think there are still key details that haven't been fully revealed yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because right now, this isn't just a story people are watching. It's one they're actively trying to figure out. And something tells me this isn't over yet. And if you enjoy deep celebrity stories, hidden details, and conversations that go beyond the headlines, make sure to subscribe and be part of the journey. Follow Roundtable Celebrity for more, because here, we don't just watch the story, we break it down.